Hello darlings, it's great to see you all again, and thanks for joining me for today's video. I'm just on my way out at the moment, and if you want to do van life and live in a van, you have to be fit and healthy. Because van life is hard, and if you're not feeling well, it's going to be really difficult for you. And I know, because I'm anemic, and there have been a few times where I haven't been feeling well. And oh my God, it was so difficult and exhausting for me. It really was. So that's why you have to be fit and healthy for van life. So you're going to need to have a healthy, well-balanced diet and exercise regularly, and get plenty of sunshine so you can get some vitamin D, and drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. So let's talk about eating a healthy diet first, shall we? So of course you're going to need to have like 3 healthy meals per day. So you want as much nutrients in each meal as you possibly can, because nutrients, vitamins and minerals they are our medicine, especially when you have breakfast, because that's the most important meal of the day. So whether you eat whether you have cereal or like Vegemite cheese toasties or eggs and bacon for breakfast, you want to have as much nutrients in your breakfast as possible. Like for example, for breakfast, I usually have a couple of wholemeal wheat bix with soy milk, a bit of raw sugar because I'm a sweet tooth. I mean, who isn't a sweet tooth, right? And I also add a bit of mixed cheese and nuts, and have some frozen berries, including blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and some cherries too. And I also love to add a couple of teaspoons of vanilla and passion fruit yogurt in my wheat bix as well, because yogurt is really good for you, and yogurt is really important to have in your diet. So it's also a good idea to have a glass of orange juice as well, because you don't need a large glass of orange juice. You just need like a small glass, like about that is all that you need. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't drink orange juice, but I do drink Tang instead. And the reason why I drink Tang instead of orange juice is because Tang has more vitamin C than orange juice. Tang was invented by NASA for the astronauts. And if it's good enough for the astronauts, it's good enough for me. And not only that, but I also think that Tang is a good, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Convenient. It's convenient for van life because it comes in a small container and about that size, which doesn't take up any space in my van. And because it's a powder, I don't have to worry about it going off or worrying about using it by the use-by date, and I don't have to worry about, it taking up space in my fridge. And that's another reason why I like to have Tang. So whether you drink Tang or whether you drink orange juice, make sure you have at least 1 glass per day. I mean, you don't need a lot. You don't need like about 2 or 3 large glasses of orange juice or Tang a day. You just need a small glass like that daily. And let's just turn this engine off. So that's what I do. So I always have a glass of Tang with my breakfast every morning. Now, remember that I'm not a doctor or a dietitian or anything like that. This is just general knowledge that I know. So before you start any diet or exercise program or anything like that, always check with your doctor or your professional healthcare worker first, because that's common sense and it pays to use common sense. And also because everyone is different. I mean, what I'm talking about here is what my dietitian recommended for me, and what she recommends for me may not be recommended for someone else. You see what I mean? So always check with your doctor or healthcare worker first. And it's also important to stay hydrated, so make sure you drink plenty of water. So what I do is I just sip the water throughout the day and the night too, to stay hydrated. Now, if you don't like drinking plain water, just add a little bit of orange juice or lemon juice or lime juice or mint leaves instead of cordial, because that's better for you. And don't drink tap water if you can. Get like spring water or filtered water. Or if you're going to use tap water, boil it first. That's what I do. And because with tap water you've got all this chlorine and other chemicals, and I mean, I suppose it's not really bad for you, but you don't really want it in your diet either, do you? Well, I know I don't anyway. And you're also going to need to exercise regularly too. And if you can't exercise, go for a walk, a couple of times a day. Oh, and I also forgot to mention is to have a couple of pieces of fruit throughout the day too. So have 1 piece in the morning and 1 piece in the afternoon. So I usually have like a banana in the morning and an apple in the afternoon. And the next day I'll have like a mandarin in the morning and then a pear in the afternoon. And I also like plums too. So make sure you put fresh fruit in your diet as well. So if you have a gym membership, that's a good idea. And they're also convenient for van life too, because not only can you use the gym to exercise, like if you're into weightlifting or aerobics, but you can use their car parks for scout camping, and of course you can use their showers too. So, like, I don't have a gym membership, and I don't intend to get one because I don't exercise at the gym. All I do is I just go for a walk when I feel like it, and I just do stretching. And stretching is really good for you too. So is yoga and Pilates, if that's what you're into. And I've noticed that, I'll just turn you around a bit so I can show you. And I've noticed that since I have been exercising, through the cab window here, this is the window in my bulkhead. And I have noticed that since I've been exercising again, I've been able to get through that bulkhead window a lot more easier because I have arthritis and sometimes I can't always get out of the front to go around to the side to get into the back, especially when I'm south camping. So the only way I can get into the back via the cab is through this window. And I notice when I don't do stretching and that, it's a lot harder for me to get through that window into the back. But since I have been exercising, it's been a lot easier for me. So you see what I mean? And exercising is really, really important for you because, I mean, not only do you need a healthy diet, but you also need to exercise too because the exercise and having a healthy diet work together. It's like, for example, having two sides of the same coin, if that makes sense, you know, because you can't really have one without the other because if you want your healthy diet to work, of course, you need to exercise too, don't you? Okay, so make sure another way to stay healthy while living in your van is to make sure that you get plenty of sunshine so that you can get vitamin D. But if you can't get out into the sun often, or maybe you're in the middle of winter and there's not much sunshine. So therefore, you're going to need to take a vitamin C supplement. And that's what I do. Now, supplements and taking vitamins is another way to stay healthy while living in your van. And also very important, especially if your diet isn't so healthy. So if your diet isn't really healthy, you're going to need to back that up by taking extra vitamins and minerals and supplements. And what I do is I take one multivitamin every day. Plus, I also take one vitamin D capsule daily as well, which is most important. And I also have one omega-3 capsule every day. And that's on top of my diet because, as I explained to you what my breakfast is, like for lunch, I usually have a wholemeal cheese salad and chicken loaf wrap with mayonnaise. You know, and other ideas for lunch you could do is like have an egg and lettuce wholemeal sandwich, or maybe a garden salad with quinoa, or maybe a supreme pizza. Pizza, yum. I love pizza. I mean, who doesn't love pizza? And for dinner, I usually have chicken and vegetable soup, and I try to put as much nutrients as I can in there. I put as much vegetables as I can. I'll put a few different pieces of vegetables in my soup. And if you watch my previous video called Honey and Soy Marinated Chicken Kebabs, Vegetable and Mixed Bean Soup, you can get the recipe that I am talking about. Now, other ideas for dinner that you could have could be like chicken schnitzels with steamed vegetables, or spaghetti bolognese, or special fried rice, for example, And I know we shouldn't have treats because treats are bad for you, but guess what? I have a treat every now and then. And I buy takeaway once per fortnight, so that means I have takeaway twice per month, because takeaway is not only expensive, but it's not really healthy for you either. Well, it depends on what takeaway you get, of course, and it isn't there. So, when I have takeaway, I usually have like Chinese cuisine, where I will usually get like a combination soup, or a special fried rice and a little prawns. Kelly gets to eat them. Yeah, and occasionally I'll get some fish and chip from the fish and chip shop, and I'll get Callie a piece of flake as well. Unless she wants to put my flake on top of hers. Oh my gosh, she's so greedy. Oh well, she's my baby, she can get away with it, can't she? And occasionally I'll have McDonald's, but not often. So you can have a treat every now and then, as long as it's in moderation. And I suggest that you cook in your van, because takeaway is going to be really, really expensive. And when you're cooking in your van, not only are you going to save money, but you also know what nutrients you are getting because you're cooking the meal. And I suggest that you stock up on, on a lot of non-perishable foods, such as, staples like pasta, noodles, rice, quinoa, polenta, etc. And I buy a lot of tin foods like tin vegetables and tin fruits, as well as cup of noodle soup. Those little sets of soup that you put into a cup. So they're good. And you can also stock up on frozen fruit and vegetables too if you have a freezer. And my freezer has stopped working, so I'm going to have to get it fixed. But in the meantime, I have turned my freezer into a cooler. So there's another idea for you. So if you have a freezer that has stopped working, turn it into a cooler in the meantime while you're waiting to get it repaired, or while you're waiting to get a new one. And and I mean, there's so many different kinds of recipes that you can cook in your van. You can, once you use your imagination, you can cook anything and everything in your van. You can have like fried rice by night, like have a special fried rice, and you can put in there like peas and eggs, spam, bean sprouts, etc. And then the next night you can cook like a pasta. There's just so much you can do. And remember, so being healthy for van life while you're living in your van. So it's really all about eating well, staying fit by exercising or walking or stretching, whatever you prefer. There's no right or wrong way how to do these things, And also, it's also important to go at your own pace. And because I've noticed that when I'm not feeling well, like when I don't eat well, I feel like as if I'm a diabetic. I've got no energy. And it's difficult to do things and I have to rest often. And speaking of resting, that's another thing. Make sure you get plenty of rest too. Like for example, if you're going to be doing, say, a lot of driving, for example, you're trying to get from one destination to another, and you might spend 2 or 3 days, driving, quite a long time, and it's going to be exhausting, and you don't want to become burnt out. So make sure you get plenty of rest. So when you're traveling, try to travel shorter distances if you can. And rest often. Like, if you're going to be traveling, like for example, all day, so every time you've been traveling, like for say a couple of hours, take a break from driving, for an hour or so, just so you can rest, because it's really important, because with van life you can get burnt out so quickly and so easily, especially if you're not feeling well. So it's about balancing it all up. You need to keep it balanced as well. So make sure you rest often too, because resting is just as important as exercising and eating a well-balanced diet. And it's also a good idea to have a positive attitude and a positive outlook, because having good mental health is just as important as having a healthy diet and exercising. And I know I can only speak for myself and not for other people, but from my own experience is that van life has, it has helped me in so many ways, especially in so many positive ways, especially like overcoming my trauma from domestic violence, because being in my van is like being in my happy place where I feel relaxed, comfortable and safe, because it's important that you must feel safe as well. And I don't know if that's the case for everyone else or for other people, but it is for me. And I really enjoy van life, whether it's hard or easy, And of course there's going to be times where it's going to be difficult or frustrating, because you always have to do things like empty your fresh water tank, your grey water tank, your black water tank, and fill up the water tanks, and recharge your power stations, and empty the toilet and clean the toilet. And quite often you have to double handle. Well, I know I do anyway. And if I want to get something out of the cupboard, I've got to move the power stations and the freezer and that, just to get something, and then I've got to put it back, and I have to do this every time. And double handling all the time can become exhausting after a while, So this is why you need to be healthy and fit if you want to do van life and live in a van. But whether you're thinking about doing van life or moving into a van, I recommend that you go for it and you do it, because, well, you don't know until you try it, do you? And I mean, I just love my van life. I love everything about it. I really do. But like I said, I can only speak for myself and not for other people. But whatever happens is that when you start van life, you will work it out and everything will just fall into place and you'll realize what works for you and what doesn't and that. So van life is just really cool, you know. It doesn't matter whether you're stealth camping or staying in a caravan park or free camping or staying at a campground or traveling non-stop or whatever, you know. And van life is just really cool. So I really do recommend van life. So if you're thinking about trying it, just go ahead and do it. But remember, it's important to be healthy and fit. Because if you're healthy and fit, van life is going to be a lot more easier for you. And because if you're not feeling well, or if your energy levels are low, it can be a lot more difficult for you. And this is why we need to eat healthy. And why we need to exercise regularly. And that's why it's a good idea, like I said, to have a gym membership. So if you go to the gym, you've got a place where you can exercise, you can stealth camp, you can have a shower, you can top up your water. It's a win-win. Okay, so how long? Oh my God, I didn't think this video was going to go for this long. It's been 27 minutes. I'm going to have to wrap up this video. So thanks for joining me for this video. I hope this was helpful for you in some way. Remember to always see your doctor or your health professional first before starting any diet or exercise program, because that's most important. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and don't forget to give my videos a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, take care, darlings, and drive safely. Bye-bye.